In this class, I'm going to talk to you about using the AZ Prospector software that is included with Ecom Domination. In general, you would want to use AZ Prospector when you are first looking into starting a new Amazon niche website. Or it could possibly be used if you wanted to revisit one of your existing sites and update it with some new products to promote. In either one of these cases, you would want to be coming to Amazon to try to find the products that you want to promote. Now, you do want to be combining your Amazon research and your AZ Prospector research with things like Google Keyword Research. Use the Google Keyword Planner. Make sure you're targeting a keyword phrase relating to the types of products that you want to go after. Even look up whether there is search traffic for specific brands and models of the type of product that you want to promote. You use that information to figure out the keywords that would be your best possible keywords to target in terms of traffic. But then when it comes to Amazon, you need to make sure that the products you're promoting are actually going to be products that people want to buy and products that are going to give you a decent commission on top of that, as well as products that are quality products, because ultimately you want the people that buy them to keep them. If they're not satisfied and they return it to Amazon, you lose your commission on that. Well, when you're hunting for products on Amazon, one of the most common places to go and look for products is in the bestseller list. Within the bestsellers, though, you have a bunch of different categories that you could possibly look through. And within any one of these categories, you can usually drill down even more to find really specific types of products. Ultimately, these are going to be the kind of niches that you would really want to be targeting, not necessarily something really general like digital cameras. So you want to find products within whatever niche it is that you're going to go after that people are actually going to want to buy and that they're going to be happy with. But then you also need to be considering competition among other affiliates. And that's really one of the places where I feel like AZ Prospector comes into play, because you have this feature here for days in the top 100. So you can easily sort out specific ones. If you're looking for the new products, you can look in the less than 100 section. If you're looking for something that's been around for a long time but is still a hot seller, you could look for something that has a lot more days. But personally, I'd really recommend to stick to the less than 100 days on the top 100 list, simply because these are going to be your products that are going to have the less competition on them in general. They're newer on Amazon, they're newer to the bestseller list, and therefore less affiliates would have seen these products and considered promoting them compared with the ones that have been there for a long time. So to get started with this, first identify on Amazon the kind of product that you want to promote. If you find a specific product on Amazon, you may want to try to follow this back up to a bestseller list. If you just scroll down the product listing, if it is in one of the bestseller categories, you can usually find this information down here in the product details. Amazon bestsellers rank, number 23 in camera and photo, number 1 in DSLR camera bundles. So you can click on any of these links here to get to the bestseller list for that particular category. So let's say I had figured out that I want to promote this product, or at least this type of product. I can then go down, follow this back to a bestseller listing on Amazon. Then what you want to do is use one of your base categories here, and you can punch that into the AZ Prospector software. In this category listing here, you have most of these primary departments that you can search under. So click on the search button for one of those departments, and then it'll bring up the listings for you based on the criteria that you have selected. So for example here, I have $100 plus products, less than 100 days in the top 100. Certain things like this one, for example, this stands out. It's only been in the top 100 for 2 days. This could be worth taking a look at to see, is this a new product that has been released? Or is there some other kind of reason why it may have just recently shown up? You can see right here, date first available on Amazon.com, June 18th, 2015. Right now, when I'm recording this, it is July the 27th, 2015. So this is barely a month after this product has become available on Amazon, and we can easily identify through AZ Prospector this product as being new here because of the days in the top 10 only being ranked at 2. Well, using this kind of information, you can find the products that are more recent additions to Amazon, but also the products that are actually going to sell well and likely will end up having some kind of decent search traffic to go along with it. So use this to try to pick out the gems of the batch. You want to go for the products that not all the other affiliates are going to be taking notice of. And chances are, because this thing has only shown up in the bestseller list for the last couple of days, chances are this would be a good one to go for. It's a number 1 new release in this category as well. So once you have identified a product that you want to go for, I like to identify 2 specific things about it. Number 1 is the actual brand and model of the product. So right here, this will be Sony HDR AZ1VR. I also want to identify the basic type of product that it is. Action cam, mini camcorder, 1080p, Wi-Fi, point of view, live view, remote. So ultimately, this is kind of product that it is. But what I'm really more looking for is to take this type of product that I'm seeing here on Amazon and to refine this down into a search keyword that people would actually be looking for on Amazon. So I can do this in a couple of different ways. One is by using the Google Keyword Planner. I could go and search for some of these relational keywords within the Keyword Planner. Most likely, punching in this whole thing is probably not going to yield me any results, but sometimes it can be worth looking just to see what Google will return for it. So I'll go over to the keyword ideas and look under the most relevant keywords and I can see what Google would kind of interpret this to mean. So I see things like action cameras, HD action cameras. So it is kind of focusing on the beginning of my keyword phrase here. I think what I want to try now is, I know it's a action cam, and that seems to be a search for topic. I know it is HD because of the 1080p right here. And I also see the point of view. I know that can be a searched for keyword. So I'm going to search for point of view HD action camera. So I've got a little more in terms of results now for this kind of a keyword phrase. But I can continue hunting on and essentially try to find a highly relevant keyword phrase for this type of product that is also going to have a decent amount of search traffic. I'm looking for something that has at least a couple of hundred monthly searches, preferably maybe 500 monthly searches. In general, though, I will avoid the super vague keyword phrases like action camera. There's going to be tons of results for action camera. It's not going to help me any by trying to target something like this. So I would still want to keep searching. I could try something like mini action camera. This also seems to be a little low. I think HD action camera or HD action cam, one of these two might end up being one of my best choices in terms of a highly relevant keyword phrase that also relates to what the product is about. So then, instead of creating a page on my website that says all of this stuff, which if you use some kind of automated software to generate a page like this on your site, that's exactly the title that you'll end up having. I can instead do something a lot more meaningful, like Sony HDR AZ1 VR, and then instead of all the rest of this stuff, I could just use my keyword phrase here, HD action camera. So Sony HDR AZ1 VR, HD action camera could be the title of my page. This allows me to target both the brand name, the model name, and also the type of product that it is, all within one individual page. So in addition to having the HD action camera keyword traffic potential, I also have the brand and the model for Sony HDR AZ1 VR, and this one is 480. So combined with those couple different keyword phrases, I have access to a solid 1,000 monthly searches there. And again, by using AZ Prospector here, this is how I found the product and how I identified it as one that may potentially have a lot less competition on it compared with some of the others. Now, how do you know for sure whether there's a lot of competition on something or not? Going over to Google is one really good way that you can find out. For example, if I were to put in all in title with the name of my product here in quote marks, I can see how many pages on Google actually have this in the title of the page. So this gives me a general gauge of competition on the product, because ultimately I would be competing against all of these other pages. Well, compared with something in the same niche that has been around for a while. The Canon EOS Rebel T5, for example. You can see how this one has about 30,000 results in it. So there was 1/6 of the amount of results on that newer product than there was on this more established product. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that the other one, the one with 5,000 results, this I would still kind of consider to be high on the competition rating. Once you get above 1,000, maybe 2,000 results or so here, it does get a little more difficult. You're going to have to put a really in-depth page on your site to actually get ranked. Like, let's go look at this page here that is ranking in the top. You can see the amount of content that is on this page having to do with this product, as well as these unique pictures that likely are not on any other websites besides this one. So consider what other pages out there are having to do to rank for this. Consider how many results are out there before you actually decide whether to go through with promoting a product or not. But regardless of all of these nitty-gritty details that determine whether you're going to select the product, ultimately the AZ Prospector software is what will help you to find the lower competition products, as you can see from the search that I just did here, with the newer product only having 5,000 results and the more established product having 30,000 results. One other thing worth mentioning about the product selection and also the way you would go about naming the page on your site. Remember I said I might do something like Sony HDR AZ1 VR HD action camera. Well, ultimately, when you're copying any of the exact phrases that are contained within the title of this page, you will have higher competition when you do this kind of a search on Google. The reason why is because any automated page built to target this product, if you had software that generated this page, it would take this title from Amazon, it would take other content like the description and so on from Amazon, and it would put this onto a complete page on a website, and it would use this exact title. So considering the brand and the model that I was searching for are located exactly within the title like that, any of those automated pages may likely still be counted in this number of results here. So there can be some cases like this where you have a lot of results, but you might be able to assume that a decent number of them could be automated. And therefore, if you can put a page on your site that's actually unique quality content instead of automated content, you may be able to ignore at least a couple thousand of these results. You'll automatically beat them by just doing something unique. You also are going to have things such as different types of niches will have varying levels of competition. Anytime you're dealing with an electronics product, computers, and things of that nature, you will have higher competition with those products than you will have with other kinds of products, such as pet accessories. The reason why is because you have a lot of tech sites out there and a lot of people that do tech product reviews. And so they automatically create some initial competition for all of these tech products. It doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't choose a tech product though, but you would need to have enough knowledge about them to actually put something in depth and useful on your own website about that product, to be able to really compete with all of the other people that are out there. Now, I want to mention a couple of final things here having to do with the AZ Prospector software. Beyond searching for something based on a category over here, you can leave the category blank and simply enter in some type of keyword phrase like HD action camera. You will still be able to use the various sorting options that are here. However, you will notice that some of these products may not return a number of days in the top 100 or a number of reviews or something of that nature. In general, the ones that are going to return all of the data are going to be the ones that are ranking in some kind of Amazon bestseller list. So you can use this software to find products beyond what is in the bestseller list, but simply be aware that that's when you're going to end up with something like this one, for example, where you get a price, but the days in the top 100 and the reviews come up blank on it. However, if you go over to Amazon by simply clicking on the link, you can see that there are indeed reviews on this product. You can also see here that it's actually ranking in one of the top 100s. However, it's in a really drilled down category. Typically, these categories, the bestsellers in them, will not all populate with that kind of information. It's really going to be your more popular ones. For example, the top 100 in the home and kitchen would definitely be showing up. But all the way down here in this final category, that information in most cases does not end up relaying over here to AZ Prospector. So keep that in mind when you're doing your own searching with this software. If you're going category based, you will likely get all of the information that you need. If you're going keyword based though, your days in the top 100 and your review filters are not really going to be as effective in those situations. However, you can still use this to try to figure out what some relational products would be, what some of the best-selling products having to do with your keyword phrase would be. But in general, in terms of finding the new products, the ones that you're likely going to have a lot less competition on, but will still be very powerful sellers on Amazon, a lot of those you will be discovering solely through the use of browsing through categories. So I would try to recommend going about your searching from both angles. Search keyword phrases, but then also make sure you're going through and trying to find some of those products through the category search. That way you can identify some of the hottest new releases that will also end up having the least amount of competition on them.